You might be, blessed with certain gifts. You might have a sense of what your purpose is. And at the end of the day, not even the records can dictate or tell you how to use those gifts or embody that sense of purpose. You can choose how you express your gifts. You can choose how or if you embody or express or walk with purpose. Hello, welcome to Akashic Records and Friends. My name is Mina. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I have another fun episode for you. This time I had the delight of getting to connect with my friend Robbin, we've been friends for a few years now. I don't even remember how we met, but I've had the pleasure of reading for her before one time on her podcast. And so this is the second time I've gotten to read for her, and it was just a delight. And I think the last time I read for her was a couple of years ago. So it was cool to kind of like revisit some of the same themes a couple years later because she asked similar questions, at least some of them. And what was really beautiful, I didn't remember like everything that came through in the reading. I don't always remember everything that happens in a reading, especially if it's been years. But as she was asking the questions and then the information was coming through from the records, it was reminding me of the last reading we did, which was a couple years ago. So it was really fascinating to see how some of the things changed and some were actually really consistent, which was really beautiful. So I'm really excited to jump into this episode. And Robin is an absolute delight. She's so down to earth and easy to talk to. And she's also a coach. So if you like Robin and her vibe and her energy and you want to connect with her more or even work with her, you can find her information and reach out and connect with her at the information in the show notes. So definitely feel free to connect with her. She is a treasure. And before we dive in, I just want to invite you to settle in and get comfortable. This episode is it's a normal length. I think it's about an hour and a half. And we, as usual, have the reading and then the post-reading chat. I got to chat with Robin a couple of days later, which was actually, I think I talked to her a couple of weeks after the reading, which was really nice because she had a lot of time to reflect and let the reading integrate, which was cool. And if you want to listen to the episode, you can do that on Spotify. If you want to watch the video version of this episode and see me and Robin talk to each other, you can watch that on Substack or YouTube. And if you're wanting to dive even deeper and receive more Akashic goodness, Substack is the place to be. So if you want to receive every single episode plus more Akashic goodies that are exclusive to my Substack community, you can subscribe for free to my Substack community, and the link to that is below. Okay, so I think that's everything for now. I'm so excited to jump into this episode with you. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'll catch up with you at the end. The Akashic Records are now open. I'm just gonna take a moment to feel into the space of your records to see if there's anything immediately present upon opening. So, actually, even as I was opening the records, there is like an incredibly present, almost like palpable energy of grace and protection, but there's almost like a regality, like a regalness, a majestic quality to this kind of grace. And it's like it almost feels like a blanket of grace, but it's not a blanket. It's like a very lush kind of like cloak or cloth that uh royalty might wear, like a ruler, like a sovereign being might wear. And it's like it's heavy. It's like this is nice. Whatever material it's made of is very nice. And yeah, there's something about it, and it's like the energy of like standing tall and like walking slowly and like really being deeply present to your surroundings, but it's like walking with such purpose. It's like that kind of energy, that kind of like uplifted grace. And it feels like that is coming from your keepers, your whole team, ancestors, dear beloveds, ethereal beloveds that are in, in this other plane, in the spiritual dimension, in the this other energetic plane. And so it's like you have tons of support and it feels like it's coming in this like very specific kind of vibe, which is cool. And I don't know if that lands for you or not, but that's what it feels like.
That's kind of interesting that you said that. I feel like sometimes I have to I psych myself up in the morning just to start of my day and say, you are a leader, you have the executive role, you walk with purpose and keep your head up high. And so it's funny that you said that because I resonate with that.
Wow. Yeah, it's like it's coming through. It feels like it's coming from you, but it feels like it's like really like just pouring into you like from your records, which is amazing. So it's
I
like
love that.
blessings and blessings and blessings. It's like, yeah, walk with this purpose, walk with grace. Like, yeah, you're wearing this like cape thing, like it's like things are good. So yeah, it's like yeah, kind of like permission, encouragement. There's like a fortitude around it where it's like, yeah, you're so supported around that.
I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to ask?
Speaking of purpose, I would like to ask, am I aligning myself correctly, or not necessarily correctly, but am I aligning myself with the right steps of moving in my purpose at this time?
Mm, beautiful question. Yeah, let me sit with that. Okay, so they're yeah, they're asking you, do you have a sense of what your purpose is? Or like, is that something that you'd like to explore?
Sometimes I feel like I have a sense of what my purpose is, and sometimes I'm all over the place. So I
Okay.
would love to explore it
Yeah.
because I don't think it's necessarily just one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can kind of like give their 2 cents on like how they kind of relate to purpose, where it's like we can think of it as like maybe there's an overarching theme or a few themes, some kind of like and like a vibe, like a something that kind of carries through a thread that carries through a whole lifetime. And there's also like different seasons of purpose where it's like some things might like be very present in a specific season or for like maybe a few decades even, and then they might like quiet down and dissipate and something else might come up. So it's like we can think of it as this like evolving, very alive, organic thing that's like growing and moving with us throughout our lives. So it's yeah, it's always a fun question to start with and to begin with. It's always relevant to kind of like hone in on that. Yeah. So we can definitely do that. It feels like yeah, they're kind of offering it feels like there's something here around like purpose specifically in this season that you're in. Would that be something that you'd like to explore?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, let me see. Okay. So I know before we started the reading, you were saying that you're in a busy season, that there's a lot going on. And it feels like in the midst of this busyness, like in this season, there's an invitation to like consider purpose around there's this image that they're showing us that's like someone walking with like plates spinning like on like their shoulders, like if there were sticks with plates spinning like on the shoulders and on the head, and they're walking as though nothing's happening, where it's like walking with that kind of balance and that kind of like, again, like there's this sense of like, oh, like standing up tall and like with grace. And but it seems like this season, it's like the busyness is here, not to like test you or like just make things difficult for you, but it seems like there's something about this season. It's like, yes, it's very busy, and it seems like this whole season of busyness could serve as a way for you to realize and like view yourself in a different way, but to realize like how capable you actually are. Where it's like you've been busy before, and maybe it felt a little bit more frantic. And then you've been through like kind of slower, more calm seasons too. And maybe those felt more graceful, where it's like you know how to be graceful and kind of collected when things are at a slower pace. And you know how to keep up and keep things like going and moving when things are really busy. And it feels like this season is like really integrating the two, where it's like you have like learned grace in a slower context, in a more peaceful, kind of relaxed context, and you've learned like the capability in busy seasons. And can you take both of those with you in this busy season now, where it's like we're not letting go of the grace and the peace that you've like cultivated in the calmer seasons? It's like, can you take that with you into this one and maintain it? And keep it as this like integrated, integral part of who you are, and not lose it. And that's certainly easier said than done, but it also seems like you're doing that, where it's like that's kind of like what's present for you. But I'm curious how that lands for you so far.
So that's interesting you said that. Because life is so busy, I sometimes have to think about just to slow down and take a deep breath. And I used to be one that would meditate every morning, no matter what.
Hmm.
And I find myself now just wanting to just sleep in just for that extra 20 minutes, just because I'm so exhausted. But it's so interesting that you said that because it's like, Robin, don't forget the spirituality and the growth and how far you've come,
Yeah.
even in this season of busyness. Bring that along with you. Learn how to balance it.
Yeah.
So that's what I take from it. So yeah,
Mm.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And it seems like it's difficult because that's like that's not an easy thing to do if we're like sitting with this image of someone like walking, like actually walking while this stuff is spinning. It's like, how are they doing that? It's like it's mind-boggling. It's amazing. It's like really like wow. It's like baffling and so cool. And yet it's like how are they doing that? It's like they've practiced. They've practiced. And so it's like there's something about this where it's like you've practiced something. You have been cultivating something. You've been cultivating a lot of things over time, and like really you've put in effort and like the diligence of practicing. So it's like take that with you. Take it with you. Don't leave it behind. And
Yeah.
so it seems like there's a little bit more around this question of purpose too. So there's yeah, okay, there's a couple of things. Let me sit with it for a second. There's two pieces. I'll speak to it one at a time. So one, this like quality, right, of like there's almost this like encouraging quality to this where it's yeah, like take it with you. And it feels like that there's like an ancestral kind of like energy to that. I don't know. Do you feel connected to ancestors? Does that language resonate with you?
Hmm.
Okay.
Definitely.
So it
Hmm.
feels like that's coming from them. Like if we could differentiate a little bit, it's like maybe there's the keepers and maybe there's like the ancestors, and the ancestors are like take that with you, please. Like so it's
Hmm.
like there's like a strong encouragement around that. It's like they're being a little bit more firm on that.
Yeah.
And it's like you have worked so hard for that. Like they aren't going to let you leave that behind.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, take it with you. And
Yeah.
that's also like where that like energy that was so present at the beginning, that's all like coming from like the ancestors. It's like you're so like protected and like kept and blessed It's like, it's amazing. It's like so much support is coming from this, like from your lineage. And so, yeah, it's like take it with you. We're not going to let you forget that. And there's this other piece to it too. It's like, right, the question is like, you know, what is my purpose? What does purpose feel like in this season? There's an invitation around this around like self-assuredness. It's like the like self-assuredness of like putting your foot on the ground with every step. It's like you know that the ground is going to meet you, right? It's like the way that we walk, it's like we don't even think about it, right? It's like you're so sure that the ground is there, especially if you're walking somewhere you've walked before. It's flat, right? It's like we're not hiking or anything, but it's like, yeah, it's right there and you can take one step at a time and the ground is right there. And so it's like the like imagery is like seeing almost like in slow motion the way like the whole foot like rocks and meets the ground and lands and then it's like already moving like it's like very rhythmic, so it's
Mm.
like that kind of level of like sure-footedness, self-assuredness is really present where it's like the like invitation, the call in this season around purpose is like the question to come back to is like, can I trust myself? And
Mm.
it's like the answer is yes. But it's like centering that, right? It's like, so maybe so far it's been like, can I trust myself? Can I trust this? Can I trust life? And it's almost like switching that from the question to I can trust myself. Yeah. So like moving from question to affirmation. And it's like you've been in the season of asking that as a question and cultivating trust with yourself. And now it's like you've sat in practice doing that. And now like take it with you as an affirmation. Like you have cultivated that, take it with you and like know that now it's okay to know you can trust yourself. And it does seem like there's something about this where it's like the like opportunity, like the sweet opportunity of this season, the fruit that's available in the season is like, can you bring and bridge like what you've learned in different seasons of your life that feel disconnected? It's like you might even look back and there's like different eras of your life where it's like, oh, this theme was really present. Like my meditation practice was really present in this season of my life, maybe for years. And then before that, maybe it was something else. I was like going faster and getting things done. And now it's like, can you integrate all these things that you've learned that have felt like different, separate, distinct seasons and bring them together into one integrated self? So it's really like pulling all these pieces of yourself together and like being like this very integrated version of yourself instead of these like very discrete versions of yourself that don't carry through. It's like remembering like you have your own like rhythm and flow. There's like a connectedness in your own life. It's like you don't just suddenly become a different version just because like something external changes. It's like you can take your whole self with you.
Yeah, I love that. That's interesting. It's almost like as I'm growing, make sure you put that in your story. Make sure you put your past in your story instead of just forgetting it and keeping it in the past in a way.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like that's what I'm taking away from it.
Yeah, yeah, that does feel
And I
like
love that.
it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's making sense the way that they're saying it?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, great.
It does.
Did you have any questions about anything they've said so far, or any like another question to ask?
So it sounds like I need to trust myself, but also know that if I just start taking the steps to where I want to be, everything will just fall in place. And
Hmm.
I'm a true believer in that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. It seems like this is almost connected to the first question you asked, which is like, what steps do I need to take to like kind of be on? How did you phrase it the first time? Can you like repeat that question?
Mhm. What steps do I need to take for the path that I am going in right
Mhm.
now?
Yeah, to kind of like be in alignment or to be attuned to
Hmm.
that, right?
Yes, with my purpose.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, let me see. So, yeah, they're saying like if they were to give you like a numbered list of the steps in order, the like first prerequisite step, the first thing that they would invite you to do is kind of like it's not even like go do your practices. It's like almost like sit back and like assess what your life looks like, what your reality looks like right now, and think like realistically and generously, like generous to yourself and very generous to the reality of life in this season. It is busy. So they're not saying ignore that, but it's like assess your reality and be generous to yourself and think, is there any way to kind of fold in these other things I've learned? Maybe it's a practice, but it's like this question, and this is more abstract. It's like, how do I bring these like other versions, these other things I've learned over time? How do I include those aspects of myself in my present reality right now? So, this first step is this like rich assessment where it's like, do I feel like there's parts of me that I've like left behind or aren't fully included in what I'm doing right now, in the way I'm being right now? And it's like maybe we could even use that like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to use that as an example, but it's like if there was something that you felt like wasn't included, it's like is what's the like most viable minimal version I could do to include that piece. So maybe it's not meditating 20 minutes a day because maybe that's not practical. If you're exhausted, it's like don't lose your sleep to fold in that practice. Maybe that's not realistic. And that's what they mean by generous. It's like be generous to yourself and be realistic. Where it's like maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's taking 3 deep breaths, like when you open your eyes and wake up, and it's like it could be an infinite number of things. And that's just one example. But it's like, what are these? And it feels like the imagery is like, can you build like tiny little bridges for these other aspects of self to like come over into this chapter and season of your life? Where it's like if they're almost like isolated on these islands of different versions of yourself over time, it's like, can you build a little bridge for them to like come in and dip their feet in and kind of like touch in with you and say hello throughout the day? Maybe they're not like, leading the way, but it's like, are they there? Can they get to you? Can those pieces of yourself like be present at all? Do they have an access or an endpoint, an inroad to your life as it is right now? And what would those bridges perhaps look like? So that's like the first thing is like take an assessment, just look at what's here and be practical. How does that feel to you?
I love that. I love that. Um, I I love the word that you just said with take an assessment because I think that is one of the first key things to doing in order to change. And that helps. That helps. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's like we can't do anything if we don't know what we're working with. So it's like first just like take a survey the landscape, right? Like assess the situation, take an inventory. Any of those words work where it's like what is here right now? If I'm putting on my most realistic, practical human goggles, it's like, what is actually happening? Not the idealized rose colored glasses of I'm going to wake up at 5, meditate for 20 minutes morning and evening. I'm going to go on a 5 mile walk and drink my tea and do all this stuff. And then I'll start my day. Right. So it's like, maybe not that, but what can you do? And what could it look like very practically?
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. Thank you. And right, and that's important too. Um, be realistic. Be generous to yourself. I love that you described what they meant by that. Because that's true. That's true. Even if it's not 20 minutes of meditation, it's just 5 minutes or taking a deep breath. And I have to remember that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like they're saying like you can be very creative with this stuff, right? If we're using meditation as the example. which maybe that doesn't even feel like that's the thing to fold in. We can just use it as an example where it's like maybe it's not 5 minutes of meditation when you wake up. Maybe it's 3 breaths when you wake up, and then you set an alarm at noon or during your lunchtime for a minute. And it's like, can I take 60 seconds to just, again, have a breath, close my eyes, maybe stretch. And you can like, you could do 5 minutes or even 3 minutes broken up 1 minute at a time throughout the day. Right? It's
Yeah.
like, what? And that's what they mean by a tiny bridge, where it's like maybe the version of Robbin that's like, oh, I can wake up every day and do 20 minutes of meditation. It's like, does that version of you and everything that they've learned and cultivated and valued, can those values of that person, that version of you, can they get into where you are right now? Is there a little bridge where like a little sliver of them can like trickle in? And maybe that's, setting an alarm one or 2 times a day for a minute. And it's like, okay, that is like a trickle, a tiny bridge of that version. And those values, whatever you learned to come in just a little bit, have it drip into your life right now. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that feels like kind of the first step where it's like, how can you attune to and align with your purpose even more deeply in this season? It's like that seems like that would be the first invitation. Yeah. Do you have other questions around this? Did that answer
hmm
your question?
hmm Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay.
Um, Another question that I have is is coaching in my life's path?
Mm. So this question, we might need to clarify it a little bit, because with the question like this, right, is coaching in my life path? They're saying like, well, you can choose, like you can choose if that's what you want to do. So it's like, uh, because they're like, you have free will and you can decide if that's part of your path or not. It's like they can't really chime in on that because you can make that your reality if that's what you want. And so, and yet it's like, I understand your question. And what they're asking to clarify is like, does coaching represent, does it represent something to you? Are there certain values that you connect to that? And another way we could ask this question back to them and like maybe get to it is like, um, does coaching kind of like align with purpose? How do those things kind of play? Do they feel connected? And are there certain gifts that want to express in this lifetime? And does coaching kind of like provide, is that a viable outlet for those gifts to express? Did any of that make sense? And do any of
Yeah.
those reworded versions of the question land for you?
Yes. So I guess I should say, with the gifts that I have, will coaching be su- I'm trying to be very careful.
I
Will
know, and it's okay.
coaching
You can ask it as you want, and we can like
Okay,
work on it. Yeah.
okay,
I
okay.
know they're picky. It's annoying.
With with the gifts that I have, will I be happy down the line with coaching,
Mm, okay.
with life coaching?
Yeah. Great, great. Thanks for indulging that. I know it's like
Okay.
so funny. They can be really specific about how they about what questions they'll take. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so it seems like they can like illuminate like some of the potentials, some of the possibilities that coaching can offer you, like if you were to pursue it, like maybe like almost like vibe checking that timeline, if you will. Yeah, would
Mhm,
that sound
mhm.
okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Let's see. It seems like um life coaching has the potential to feel like deeply fulfilling the way like a deep drink of like mineral water can feel like so enriching, where it's like it's not just quenching your thirst, but it's like it's doing something nice for all your cells, right? So it's like an enriched drink of water. And nutrient dense kind of like sip of water. And they're saying like why is that, like why does it have that kind of like rich potential for like almost feeling like it's nourishing for you to offer this to other folks. It seems like it really lends itself. It is like a nice vehicle way, like outlet for some of your gifts to come through. And some of the things that your soul or your essence like is seeking in this lifetime can also like come through. So it's like if we, instead of thinking about it as like the thing that makes it happen, it's like the gateway that this stuff flows through. It's like your gifts can flow out of it and through it, and like what you're seeking can flow through it into you. So it's like this nice little channel or like permeable barrier that like really facilitates this stuff, which is great. So it seems like as far as like gifts go, like ooh, this can be so fulfilling because it'll yeah, it's like viable. It's a viable expression of your gifts. One of them is like deep connection and communication. And I think this has come up before. It's been a while since we've done a reading, but I feel like that feels familiar. So it's like, yeah, deep connection and communication can occur there. And it's like that's something that really like tastes satisfying to your essence is when you're in deep connection and in like clear, like heartfelt, like deeply understood communication. That's something that seems to be fulfilling. Does that feel true to you?
Definitely. And then even when you were saying it's like nutrients to my body, whenever I feel like I am pouring into someone, they they are literally pouring back into me.
Hmm. Yeah, where it's like the
And
lines
I love
almost
that.
blur, where it's
Yes.
like
Hmm.
who, like the lines between giving and receiving are completely blurred because it feels like a gift when you're giving and it's landing. It's like, oh yeah, like that is all the nutrition that your soul could crave and desire and need. Yeah, to feel like really fulfilled and happy, content.
Yes.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yes. Okay.
It feels like it really like satisfies the like desire for contribution, where it's like to feel good, you like to feel like you're contributing. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like offering something that feels meaningful to your community and the people you're connected to, it feels like that's a need. It's not even like uh I don't know, an extra. It's like I like, yeah, your essence needs that to feel good. It's like yeah, an essential thing to feel healthy almost. It's like if the spirit, like what does the spirit need to feel healthy? It's like you need to feel like you're contributing. You need to be contributing to feel that. And it doesn't mean like, just being of service 100% of the time, but it's like to have something that's like consistent where it's like I know I'm giving here. This is where I offer and contribute to other people. It's like having a clear channel that's like defined, that feels good. So it's like, and you might even, it seems like there might have been seasons where it's like that channel wasn't very clearly defined and you have felt that, where it's like maybe you're giving a little bit here and there and everywhere, but it's like when it's very clear and defined and it's like, I know it, and you can point to that. If you ask yourself, like, where am I contributing? Where is contribution happening? If you can point to like a specific thing, and even if it's multiple things, that's great. But like the more defined and clear it is, the better. So it like feels good where it's almost like you can sleep at night. Like if you can point to that thing where it's like, okay, I know that that is happening there. It's like, yeah, there's almost like it seems like it's connected to your rest, where it's like there's a restlessness that happens if you can't point to that, where it's like a restlessness of the spirit, but also it's like physically feeling that. And I don't know if that feels true or not. And that's okay if that doesn't resonate. Yeah.
Are you meaning like if I'm contributing to something or just something, then I am like my soul is at ease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where
Mhm.
it's like, am
Yeah.
I being of service? Am I making a contribution? Am I like using my gifts to serve not just me, but the people that are connected to me, whether it's like the community at large or even just one person or my
Yeah.
family? It's
Right.
like, am I doing that? Because it's like yeah, it's like the spirit feels like it's almost like it's restless. It's like it won't feel like it can settle and have a moment of peace if that question isn't answered of like this is where I'm helping. And you don't have to be helping 100% of the time to feel peace, but it's like maybe even if it was like 10 minutes a day, or even if it was like volunteering 1 hour a week at something, it's like I know that my contribution is happening in this 1 hour here, and so it's like, so I can sleep. I can relax because I know I am being of service in some capacity. Does that make
I read,
sense?
yes, I understand that. Yes.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
in everyday life, I feel that way.
Yeah. It seems like that's like a core thing for you. It's like
Hmm.
I need to know where that's happening. And it
Yes.
seems like it makes it's interesting because it's like you, and this is what you were just naming, where it's like, oh, right. And so it's like coaching, right? Coming back to coaching in your question, it's like, oh, that's a like that can serve, that has the potential to be and feel really fulfilling and sustainable
Hmm.
because it's like, oh, that's a way where like contribution is innately happening, right? You're contributing to the other person, and that feels like food, right? And nutrition to your essence, where it's like your spirit needs that to be able to sleep well and feel at ease. So it's like, oh, that's great. This is like the lovely potential of life coaching is that contribution is innate in that, it's inherent, where it's like, yeah, contribution of course is happening. Yeah. Does that make sense? Where it's like that's part of what makes it feel viable long term.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Because it makes me happy. Just when you're helping somebody, in on their journey, because maybe you've been through where they've been through, and just by saying certain things, and it kind of helps them get through the day or just
Mm-hmm.
get through something, and you see it connect, and it makes me feel like, oh wow, like Robin, your words really have power.
Yeah.
Everyone's words have power,
Yeah.
and it just takes just a moment to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that.
It feels like it's very like affirming of your own beingness. It's like it's affirming of your value as a person, and almost like it helps you feel real. And I don't know, that's a weird way to say it, but it's like, oh, I'm a real person that spoke and like contributed to a real person, and it had a very real, tangible, felt impact. So it's like that makes them feel more real. It helps you feel more real. And like the value of the contribution is like very affirming, where it's like there's something solid about that, where it's like, yeah, I did that. So it's like affirming, and it feels like it's like bolstering. There's something like fortifying about that. Yeah, there's like a couple directions that we could go in, it seems, but there's almost like if you're curious about it, it seems like there's like past life history around like why that is, like why does that matter to your being? So that's something that we can explore if you want to, if it feels relevant, and if it doesn't, that's fine. And it also seems like there's a little bit more around like, yeah, the potential of like life coaching and happiness and like feeling fulfilled long term. So yeah, there's kind of like two pieces, and we can do both.
If you have the time, I would love to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Is there one that you feel like inspired to start with?
Um, my history behind it.
Okay, great. It seems like there have been um past lifetimes where you had wisdom and you had things to contribute, you had gifts to give, and you weren't heard. So it seems like there have been lifetimes where it's like so much to give, and this person wasn't heard. So it's like no one's listening. And it's almost like talking to a wall or talking to the void, where it's like, I'm giving you the answer, but like they're not listening. And it's like witnessing like unnecessary struggling on behalf of other people, that it's like, and then like the personal suffering of having to watch that, knowing that it never needed to happen. Like we could have avoided all of this if like you had just heard what I said. It's like I knew the way out. So it's almost like if there's like a wayfinder who's like scouting and like finding new paths to different places, finding new paths to different lands, and they go out first and then they come back to tell people this, I found a way there and we don't want to go this way, and this way is a dead end and this is the way that we want to go and this is how we'll get there, I'll take you there. And it's like, imagine if that was like this person's job, that was their role in their community and their society, but they went on this like long adventure, did all this scouting, like brought back a map, and then you try to give the information and everyone's like, we'll just figure it out. Like, it's fine. And then you're with them and everyone's going to the same place and you just came back from there. So it's like, but they're not letting you lead. And now you have to just go with the group and you're watching everyone. It's like, yep, there's the quicksand that I told you about. Like, there's the dead end that I also told you about. It's like, oh, we're going this way. That was not the right way. And like, eventually we'll get there. And it's like the like exasperation of like not just not being heard, but having to watch the like needless struggling. How is this landing for you so far?
I'm cracking up because I feel I feel like when that happens, and not necessarily if someone is not taking on my advice or something like that, or just listening to what I'm saying, I literally just kind of throw my hands up and I just stop because I have no time. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
Do what you want to do.
and that's a nice way to do it. I feel like it's like that's graceful to just be like, okay, do what you want to do, because it's like it has the potential to be very aggravating. It's like you have a history of this, of like it, and maybe there's other versions, or maybe there's even like the part, maybe there's one part that's like, but I have the answer. Like, just listen. Like, I'm telling you to just do it this way. Like, please. And maybe you don't do that and you're more graceful than I would be in this situation. You're like, okay, that's fine. Do what you want. But it seems like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's a history of that. And so, again, tying it back to like life coaching, it's like someone is coming to me for me to tell them what I know, which is great. It's like the dream of this like past lifetime of like I had the answer but no one would listen. It's like, oh my gosh, what a dream. They're coming to me. I don't even have to like chase them down and tell them don't go that way. They're coming to me asking me what to do, and then I get to tell them and then they do it and it's great.
Thank you for that.
So it seems like it's like like such a relief, and it's restorative somehow, where it's like it's getting that thing that like was wanted so much in a past life. It's like reparative now, where it's like, okay, I'm getting to do that thing, I'm still getting to use, it's like those same gifts didn't get to express to their fullest potential in the past, but they can express now. And this is like a beautiful vehicle for that to happen, where it's like it's rooted in consent, where it's like not unsolicited advice by any means, neither was that, but it's like it's like, okay, good, it's like they want it and I'm very happy to offer my wisdom that I've accumulated through experience. It's not coming from nowhere. So it seems like that's part of the reason that feels so nourishing, is there is this history and it's very affirming to what you've been through. Because if we like think of this imagery or story of like this wayfinder, it's like I did go do the thing and I'm just reporting back, and take it and adapt it and do what you will with it. But it's like it's affirming and validating to the fact that you have been on that journey and returned from it. So it's like affirming to your experience as a person, your lived experience. It's like very validating. So it's like, yes, they're taking it, but that's why it feels so like fortifying and affirming, where it's like, oh, I'm real and I'm solid and this happened. it's yeah, it seems like it's really validating. Yeah, to your own gifts, your own wisdom.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you. And then
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense because that no wonder why I feel so passionate about just wanting to have deeper connection, and having that be received and
Hmm.
me receiving it as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like there were a few things that like didn't land quite right in that other like illustration, past life illustration. It's like the main things, it's like you didn't get to like really use your gifts, but it's like I wasn't heard. And so it's like communication is so important to you, and that's part of the reason why it's like you want to feel heard and you want to make other people feel heard too, which is really beautiful. And it's like all of this is like deeply rooted in like consensual reciprocation, where it's like I'm giving my wisdom because they're asking for it. I'm listening to them and they're listening to me too, right? It's not like it's like very rooted in consent and like mutual respect. It seems like that's like a key ingredient of that. And that's a nice way for that to happen is through this vehicle of life coaching where it's like because that like mutual respect is like embedded into that, right? It's like there's they're seeking it and you're seeking it and there's like this it's very yeah, just reciprocal. And it does feel like there's a little bit more around this, like there might be a little bit more around the life coaching piece, but I'm curious if you feel, do you feel complete with that? Was there anything else that you wanted to ask, or did you want to explore that other piece?
No, I feel like I'm complete with that.
Great.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Were there any other questions that you wanted to ask before we close?
Um, is there anything that they want to tell me?
Mm, yeah, I can ask. So I know you said that you used to have like a meditation practice. I'm curious if there was anything else in the past or in the present where it's like, do you have any practices of like talking to, communicating with, asking for help? Maybe this is like a form of prayer with like, yeah, just a higher power or like the ancestors. Do you have any practices of connecting with and listening with?
Not necessarily. I feel like I talk to them just in general.
Hmm.
And I feel like with like spirit guides, they connect with me through numbers, if that
Ooh,
makes sense.
yeah.
But
Okay.
it's not necessarily like a practice that I'm
Okay.
open to.
Yeah, yeah. Practice feels formal, but it's like anything. Is there kind of like a rhythm? Is there like a something that you can touch into? Is there like is that part of like how you be and exist? Maybe practice is like that, yeah, that feels like it's not like something that you have to sit and do every day. But do you feel like you're in connection with them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes I feel like I am wanting it more, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. But they literally send me numbers and signs all the
Okay.
time.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm asking that because they're saying like if you do want more, ask, just ask for more. It's like it seems like they're wanting to like connect with you more, but they're waiting for the invitation. So that's why they're like, yeah, they and I am asking like, oh, is there any practice of like prayer? Is it maybe it's like it seems like writing things down in the form of like requests or questions could be powerful. And maybe it's not. And it's not like, okay, sit and do like a long journaling practice now, but it's like, it almost feels like on a scrap piece of paper, right? Almost like writing your own, like, like fortune cookie for the day of just like what's your request for the day? And it's like really simple. And it's like maybe it's one sentence, maybe it's one word, and maybe this is like an intention for the day, but it's almost like make your request. Like tell them what you want and what can they help you with? What can they how can they connect with you? Um, because again, that's like they're kind of like reminding us like even just but we hadn't even opened the records and it's like all this support is like flooding in. So it's like you have plenty of support like ready to go and like ready to help you. And so they're like, ask, 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 because we're just they're delighted. They want to help. But yeah, they want to make sure that you want it.
Do you think so when you say write, like should I literally like just write what I'm thinking as far as what I want to say to them or ask them and then do I just kind of just write in journal and see what comes out
Mm.
or you know what I mean like how
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, that's why they're saying it's like requests slash questions. If you have a question that you want clarity on, you could maybe that's the thing you write down that day. And it's like if you have any way of like bringing me clarity, I'm open to it, and maybe that's just it. And it's like you don't actually have to write it down if you don't want to. Maybe it's just it seems like writing it down will like crystallize it though, where it's like if they say like, oh, you can just think it, which you can, it seems like thoughts might wander and you might not arrive at like a clear thing. So that's why it's like writing one sentence might be helpful. And that's why it's like just any piece of paper in the notes app, whatever works, but it's like getting it out of you that way it's clear because it's like if we just think about what we want, we can just like our mind can wander for like ever and then we'll forget about it. So it seems like almost just thinking like if they were asking you like, hey, is there anything we can help you with today? How would you respond to that? Maybe it's like, oh, can you help me with this? And that's like the question form, or it's like, please help me with this, or it's like, I'm seeking more of this, this, and this. Like help like green lights like make that happen if you're able to, where it's like you could do that. And they're like hesitating to say like, yeah, you absolutely can just free write on whatever comes through, but they're wanting to be mindful of like they don't want to burden you with like a practice that might not feel sustainable in this very busy season where it's like definitely do that if you feel called to do that, great. And if it you maybe do it once or even once a week, awesome. And if you do it one time and then you don't have time for it, that's okay too. But you can come back to just like if you could offer a prayer, a request in one sentence, what would it be? That's kind of the invitation around that. And that's just
okay.
one way that it could be. You don't have to do that exact thing. You can play with that. And if writing feels good to you, that's great. If writing feels like it's too much, you don't have to do that. But it's like, in whatever way feels good, you can ask for help if you want to. That's really all it is. And you can be creative and trial and error, test it out and experiment and be like, what actually fits? And going back to that, like first invitation of like what steps do I need to take? Like do the assessment of like what can that actually look like practically in this season? And maybe over time it shifts. And yeah, maybe you try out a few things and find the version of it that works in this season. And maybe it'll change later down the line. But yeah, kind of holding it lightly. But it's really this like broader invitation of if you want us to help, we'd be happy to help. Just ask. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
I'm
Great.
gonna try that. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, they're saying if you take anything from this, it's that you have their permission to trust yourself, if that means anything to you. It's like you have the record's permission, the ancestors' permission to trust yourself more deeply than you have yet so far. Okay, this concludes the Akashic Records reading. And now we will transition into the post-reading chat where Robin and I get to connect a few weeks after she received her reading. Let's dive in. Thanks for coming back to chat about this. It's been a couple weeks since we did the reading.
Yes.
So,
Thank you
yes,
for having me back.
you're so welcome. I'm glad that you're here. I'm super excited to hear, yeah,
how the messages from the reading have been landing for you over the last couple of weeks.
So I so since the reading, I have been walking or feeling more confident since I have had the reading, because I think having that reading with you allowed me the reassurance of me taking the steps that I was taking, um, just in the present, of becoming a life coach. And it really did give me the reassurance, especially because you talked about my past life, and just wanting to be heard and seen. And now I can do that for other people. So I think that's amazing, because that really helped. Because I think another thing that you mentioned was bringing all of myself, all of my past of who I was, into my present. And at first, I think, like everyone, we all have imposter syndrome. And right, no matter what line of career that we go forth with, we all have imposter syndrome. And it was really important to hear it's okay to bring all of myself and who I was to where I am presently and where I am going, because I can share that with other people, and it's okay to share that with other people.
I feel like more than just it's okay to share it, it felt like such a gift. Like it felt like such a gift. That's what it felt like receiving that from the records was like that is, yeah, it's just a gift. It's a blessing to be able to share all of your like rich experience that you've had and all the like iterations of yourself. It almost felt like one of those little it's like those stacking dolls, the like Russian stacking dolls,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
it was like all of the different like iterations of yourself that are stacked up that like make up who you are now, the whole kind of set. It's like
Mhm.
each layer of those felt like a gift. So it's like all the different like seasons of like Robbin that you've been, all the versions of Robbin that you've been. It's like each one had something unique to contribute. And so it was like, yes, like bring all of that because it seems like on its own, it's really powerful. You've
Mhm.
learned a lot over time. It seemed like that was kind of the vibe I was getting from the reading and from the records, at least. It was like you've done so much and you've learned so much and you've practiced so much. And so individually, each of those little dolls is like has a gift to share, but like all together, it's like really like a powerful, um, yeah, like a powerful just like consolidation.
Yeah, yeah. No, and you're right. It is a powerful, like it's a powerful essence that I am, like one of the things that you mentioned, I think at like the very first thing in the reading you mentioned was I had this presence about me or around me. I don't know if you remember that, and you were describing it as like royalty kind of, and it was like the way that I was like walking with my head high, and
Mhm.
and so it's like a presence that I'm bringing forth with me. And that's just, I feel like that's confidence, that's reassurance, that's grace, that's everything that you can think of, the good,
Mhm.
the bad, because I accept it all.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it felt like that first imagery. I know what you're talking about. I remember it was like a cloak.
Yeah,
It was
thank you.
like this
That's
like regal, like rich kind of cloak. And like a cloak of grace that's just kind of like around you. And yeah, I love that you were able to kind of like take that in. It sounds like it landed in you. It wasn't just like, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if you've been feeling confident since the reading too. I'm like, I want to hear more about that if there's more to share.
Yeah, so since the reading, I want to say two I've had two coaching sessions so far, which has been really good. And even just while I am, like during the coaching session, I just feel myself being at ease and being present. And that's really important, just as a coach in itself, is letting go, being empty minded, and being present, so that whatever is being told to you and being shared, you can just listen, you know? Um, so I feel like that, that, I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. You were talking about how like um you've been able to be more present and like
Mhm.
listen. It sounds like you've been able to like show up in the coaching sessions that you've done since the reading. Yeah, with
Yes.
more presence.
Thank you. Yes. And just bringing that with me into my sessions has really helped just build my confidence.
Hmm.
And just like how I was saying, just, allowing all of myself to share who I am so that it also helps the client share who they are as well and be more authentic about it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you're getting to kind of like model something, but not
Hmm.
it also doesn't sound like you're trying hard to do that though. It's kind of just happening on its own,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's performative at all, where it's like, okay, if I do this, then they can do this. It's just kind of like,
It's just
yeah, it
flow.
seems natural. Yeah, flowing.
Hmm. I like to say I feel like I'm in the flow.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's so
Yeah.
good. Um,
And also, if I can say, sorry,
okay, but
just like with you were telling me, one of the things that you told me about is allowing myself grace. And with you saw someone kind of just walking and spinning or having something like spinning on their shoulders as they're walking. And it's like I was trying to balance all this stuff at one time, which I feel like that's my life right now. It's very hectic and it's very busy. And I did feel that way for a long time. I still kind of feel that way, but I'm allowing myself some grace. Just starting to think, okay, one thing at a time, literally just one thing at a time.
mm, yeah, which that's hard to do. I feel like it's hard to do that in general, but I think it's very hard to do like to try to allow yourself to do one thing at a time when you do feel like you have like a bunch of plates spinning on your head on your shoulders. So that's remarkable. Like the props to you for even like holding that intention of like wanting to focus on one thing at a time. Yeah,
I feel like, well, because if I don't, then all the plates are going every which way.
right. Yeah.
And it feels like that sometimes, but I can only control what I can control. And that's
Yeah.
what I keep telling myself, Robbie, you can only control what you can control. Let the other stuff go. It's okay to wait.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, that imagery was hilarious. I and I'm glad that it resonated with you because it felt I was like I've certainly never seen an image like that in the records. I was like that was wild, but it was descriptive certainly and it
So
painted
are
pretty.
you telling me, was I one of your first that you've ever seen that have that type of image?
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that specific image, where it's just someone walking with like plates, like
Yes.
but yeah, like balancing on their
Yes.
shoulder, their head. Yeah.
And Mina, when I tell you, you literally hit the nail on the head with that. You hit the nail on the head because that's how I feel. And that's how I felt for a long time.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's I'm glad that that imagery resonated with you because yeah, it definitely felt silly describing that. I was like, I don't I don't know, but I'm glad it made sense to you. That's what
Yeah.
matters.
It did. It did. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So I know that you came into the reading with questions around kind of like there was like a sense of like directionality and like purpose and like are you kind of on the right path, I think is one of the questions that you had asked.
Mhm.
And I'm curious how you felt about like your purpose and alignment with purpose and your path, alignment with your path before the reading and how you felt after the reading in the last couple weeks.
So before the reading, I felt like I wasn't sure if I was on the right path. And I was very like I've kind of always known that this is my journey now of becoming a life coach, but I wasn't really sure. Now after the reading, I'm sure. I am very sure of myself, not only just because I can feel it, but because I've had synchronicities happen to kind of like confirm it for me. And I think I might have mentioned that where I see synchronicities in numbers,
Oh yeah.
and and so that's really big for me. And even today, I saw what I see with numbers, I see double numbers, and it has to be when I say double, where not necessarily two numbers at a time, two numbers, but where say it's like a number 56 and another 56, and it's literally at the same time.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm. So I see that a lot. And so I happened to see it today and I looked that number up and it basically told me stay on the path that you are on. This is your purpose and pursue that passion because it will literally fulfill all of your dreams basically.
Wow, that's like right on the nose then. That's amazing. Oh my God.
Yes. So I take that just as like reassurance, and I
Yeah.
feel like, okay, my guides, my ancestors, my angels, God, the universe, all they're trying to tell me, you got this. Just keep being consistent and persistent, and you'll be okay. Follow your heart, follow your desire, and you'll be okay. We will
Oh
provide the rest.
my gosh, that's so beautiful.
Thank
I'm so glad that you feel more certain around that after the reading. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Was there something like specific that the records shared in the reading that like helped you feel that certainty? Or was it just like the reading in general?
I think it's the reading in general, just all around,
Okay.
just all
Yeah.
around. Yeah. I think especially the regalness and that essence, that did it like lit a fire in me for some reason
Mm.
because it was like you're a leader, you have executive boss energy and go with it. And I think that really lit a fire for me.
Yeah, it definitely felt like like a sovereign, like a rule, like a queen regal ruler vibes, and like if there's a queen, it's like there's the queendom. So it was like that was there in that, and even in just that imagery of that like cloak right at the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it felt like that was a pretty like potent invitation from like your keepers and your team, whatever you want to call, yeah, your beloveds, your ancestors. It was like, and I know that the ancestor like vibe was super strong in the reading too. It was like, oh my gosh, this girl is supported. She's being guided. It was like amazing how many like people like were there for you, people in quotes. But like, yeah, I was
I'm
like, wow.
grateful.
And that seemed like there was like a strong sense of encouragement of like lean into that, like own that kind of regalness. And so I'm glad that you've been able to kind of do that. That's amazing.
Thank you, and thank you too, Mina, for giving me that like giving me that confidence through
Mm.
your gift, because
Oh,
that's amazing.
oh, it's my pleasure. It's a pleasure to get to, kind of like witness. It almost feels like I'm kind of like the third party in the room. So it's like it's just a delight to get to be there.
You're like the messenger.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's like it almost feels like being like the translator or something. Yeah, the messenger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there were a couple other things I was wanting to ask you too. So this is the second time I've read for you.
hmm
You received other readings before too?
For Akashic, do you mean like with Akashic Records readings?
Yeah.
I have not. I want to say you are the first.
Okay.
But I feel like even in the last reading, one of the first things you told me was my ancestors are very supportive of me and they like surround me. I remember you saying that
Oh my
because I
God.
can feel it. I don't know how to describe it, but I can feel it.
Yeah, I believe you because like in the records, I was like, they are here. Like it was undeniable. So yeah, I believe that you can feel it. I think it would be actually weird if you couldn't feel it by how strong that was. So yeah, I would totally believe
Yeah,
you.
I'm grateful. I'm
Wow.
grateful.
Yeah, yeah, it was beautiful. Um, but I was gonna ask you, okay, so well, okay, so you said you haven't received other Akashic record readings. Have you received other readings of different kinds before?
I have.
Okay.
So like I've received like mediumship readings and just like psychic readings.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I'm curious, and like you can pass on this question if you don't want to, but I'm curious, like, does it like what does an Akashic record reading feel like to receive? Like, does it have a different vibe? Does
Mhm.
it feel similar to other readings that you've had?
Okay, so that's a good question. Um, Let me think on it a little bit. I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like it's similar but different because when I have gotten say psychic readings or mediumship readings, it's more about what I'm going through now, if that makes sense,
Okay.
versus with the Akashic records reading, it's both of what I'm going through now and also my past and also my future,
Mm, okay.
if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And that's like when I attempt to describe what the records are. That is
Mhm.
kind of how I describe it. I'm like, it's everything that's happened, everything that's currently happening, everything that could possibly happen in the future. So that's
Yes,
cool that you feel the presence of kind of like all three kind of like sections of time, sort of.
yes,
That's
yes.
interesting.
I
Okay.
remember when you first read for me, and you told me that because and at that time as well, and which still now, like I don't have the podcast, but at that time I was really dedicated to my podcast. And you were telling me that I guess in the past, I have always been one to have people around me and just telling stories.
Remember
And
that. Oh my God. That was
mhm,
a couple years ago. Yeah. But I
yes,
do remember that.
uh-huh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And I will never forget that because I love, love, love to hear people's stories. If it's not my own story, it's just hearing other people's stories because it connects us all as beings because we all have a story. And I feel like that is a connection that we all have to each other. So I
Yeah.
will never forget that. Yeah.
My gosh. Wow. Wow. That I'm like, oh, that's touching that you like remember that after all this time. That's crazy. Yeah. And I remember that too, and it feels like that totally makes sense even with like coaching. Like I get why that's even like an extra layer of satisfaction because you're like listening to this person's story as it's unfolding too, which is really cool. That's like a unique privilege to get to like witness someone's story as it's happening.
It goes hand in hand. I feel like it literally goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting because I feel like after having the reading, and like I said, even though I'm not doing the podcast anymore as much, but I'm doing coaching and I like speaking to people and motivating people. They all go hand in hand with each other. So it's a part of my past. It has to be a part of my past.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember in the last reading, there was some past life stuff and that imagery too of just like kind of being surrounded by people. Was that, I don't know if that was just an image they were offering or if that was like a past life kind of like illustration they were offering. And then in this one too, the past life that came through in this recent reading we did, that one was also interesting as well. It's like there's this whole theme of like speaking and listening and being heard. And so it makes sense that like communication, because I think in both, and just knowing you, even if I didn't read for you, knowing you, I know you have a gift for communication. And it makes sense that like the things that have come through, it's like, yeah, all of these like really lend themselves to this like gift of communication that you have. And it feels like for you, it's more than a gift of communication. It's like a love of communication. It's like a passion for
Mhm.
communication where it's like you really do enjoy being in connection. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it is, where it's like you like feeling deeply connected to people. And storytelling and coaching and these and like having a podcast, all of that stuff, it's like those are different ways to facilitate a deep connection, is what it seems like.
Yes. I totally agree with you.
Mm,
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh, well, that's great. Yeah. So that's cool to know too, like what a reading feels like to you, that it's like similar to like other readings that you have. And I imagine that it is. And I ask that question, I'm always curious about it because it's like I only know what it feels like for me. And I don't know what it feels like actually to receive a reading for others. So that's cool. Thanks for, yeah, giving me a glimpse into what that's like for
Yeah,
you.
of course. And I'm sure everyone's experience is different too.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine all the different answers that you would get.
Yeah. And it seems, I don't know, because it does seem to like, for me, like an Akashic reading lands differently than, someone just saying something. Like if, I don't know, someone saying something to me, it's like it could be the same thing, but I feel like for me, it lands deeper when it comes from the records, which is cool. And it's hard to describe that. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do you how do you see the Akashic records when you open the records?
Um, oh, that's an interesting question. How do I see the records? It's not like I'm seeing all of the records all at once, because I think I would just explode. So it's I don't know, it's different. And it's like sometimes there's imagery that comes through, but it's not really like I'm looking around and like seeing this whole thing that's like fully rendered. It's more like they give me like an image if that's like relevant to the response for the person's question. That if they ask a question, it depends on like what the person asks. And then, sometimes they'll offer me imagery because it like will make sense. It's more understandable to convey a response in the form of an image, like describing an image, or
Mhm.
it might just be words, where it's like I'm just talking. So I don't know. I don't really, yeah, it's not like I'm seeing like totally vivid images necessarily. So it's not like I open your records and I'm like looking at all these people in the face and like all these ancestors are staring at me, but I can feel that they're there, you know? And I'm
Yeah.
glad for that. So it's like I don't know, that would be jarring. So
Like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this too often.
yeah, it's like, okay, it's a lot of people here. Just like, I think it would be like deeply distracting if I could see everything like completely rendered out the whole time. So it's nice. I think they have a good system, whatever they do, where it's like, okay, we'll just give her this one image that's relevant for right now, and then it'll kind of like move away. Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to describe. It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird job. And it is like yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's a
definitely a gift.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah. I was gonna ask you too, was did you have a favorite part of the reading?
I think my favorite part was the person walking with with the spinning like plates
Yeah.
on their shoulders and head, because that literally described me to like a T. And it was reassuring, like, okay, yeah, you see me. You
Yeah,
see me right now.
that's so funny. Yeah, yeah. And I know you said like it's a really busy season for you. So I'm glad that that imagery helped you feel seen by the records. That's so sweet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I enjoyed that part too. That was sweet.
And I feel like you were like describing it, but then you're like kind of like hesitant really because you're like, but wait, what? Does she understand? Is she what is happening here? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I understand it. Come on, just say it.
yeah, I'm glad I am glad that you got that. I haven't listened back to the reading, but I believe you that I probably did sound hesitant because I was like, this is a weird one. I was like, I don't even know if this makes sense. I don't know. It's like
I'm like,
because
yeah,
also it was like the cloak was still present for that part too. So it's like a person walking with their head
yeah.
high, and there's this cloak, and there's like all these ancestors, and there's like plates spinning on your shoulders and your head. I was like, this is specific.
Welcome to my life, Mina.
Okay, great. I'm glad it captured it. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, so and you kind of already touched on this, but like the like last couple questions that I had were did the reading feel helpful to you in any way? Like was it supportive? And if it was, how? And if you feel like complete, that's okay. If you already feel like you answered it, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I feel like it definitely helped with reassurance and going forward. And like I mentioned, with the synchronicity of seeing the numbers, and after having that reading, and it kind of just confirmed everything you said, basically, um, about me being on my right path and where I'm at. So yeah, it definitely helped.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm glad. I'm glad that it could offer you that like reassurance. It sounds like it was, yeah, affirming what you already knew.
Yes, yes, it did. But it gave me like it pushed me. It lit the fire under me, I guess I should say.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's so great. I am. Oh, I was also curious. They gave you like a whole, they offered like a practice to you and given like all of this support around you, it was kind of like an invitation to engage with that and just kind of ask for what you want. Did you try that? And I think it was like writing a question on a piece of paper or like kind of asking, like putting your request in almost.
So, um,
And it's okay if you haven't tried
I
it.
wonder. So it's so weird because, well, I don't want to say it's weird because everything is weird. I feel like as um as I've once heard from I think his name. He's like a famous mathematician, and his name is Robert Grant, and he says all the time, life is stranger than a nonfiction book. So, like, the strangest things can happen in our lives. But I I can't say that I really like wrote down a question per se, but I did think about um, I did think about something that's happening in my life that's really personal to me, and at like literally right after the reading, it was kind of answered. I don't know how to
Wow.
describe that, but yeah, it was something that's really personal, and I can't really get into it.
That's
But
okay. Yeah, don't feel pressured to.
but um, I thought it, and I just literally just said, God, if it's gonna be, just let it be, and it literally just played out to what it yeah, to what it's gonna be.
Whoa. And that was after the reading, like soon after.
That was literally right after the reading.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. That's really incredible. And I love that you kind of, yeah, like just did like your own intuitive like version of that, where it's like there was something clear in your mind that you were asking for, just wanting, it's just to let it be if it's supposed to be whatever it is. And it's like that would have been, a prayer, a request of whatever. But yeah, that's amazing that it kind of like came to be like soon after that. It felt like there was a response of
And
some sort.
yes, and I mean, and because I feel like this situation has been really heavy on my heart.
Yeah.
Um, and so after I kind of just thought that, it was like, okay, I think because I one asked the question or necessary or maybe just put it into my consciousness, into my thought,
Yeah.
and then just let it go and just let go of what is going to happen, and then it took care of itself.
Oh, oh my gosh. That seems like, yeah, your own version of the thing that they were offering you, which I love. And I feel like that's great. And like, oh, I would like lovingly encourage you to like keep doing that because it seemed like that like one kind of thing they offered was like, oh, like write down a question, whatever, at the beginning of the day, something that you want help with. It almost feels like whatever it is, and it didn't have to be literally that, and you didn't do literally that, but it like worked, whatever it was like there was a response from the other side, which was really lovely. But it almost felt like permission to like offload some of
Hmm.
that like plate spinning energy because it's like you're doing a lot and you have a lot of support. So it's kind of just like we're here to help if you need help. Like, just ask, though. So it seems like you did that in your own way, which is really lovely.
So as you're talking to, I just thought about this. So back to the synchronicities. Before the reading, when I would look up certain numbers that I would see, a lot of the times, and I forgot to mention this when you did the reading, but a lot of the times in the messages that I would read, that was for me, it would say, your guides are here to help and just ask. Literally, just ask. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah.
So they've been telling you to ask.
For the longest time. And they're like, just ask. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean just ask? Like I'm always like thinking about it. Is that not just asking? Like, don't you know? And and I guess not only just asking, but just letting it go, letting the worry go. And that is another thing that they tell me to stop worrying. We got you, basically.
That's a great insight actually, because it's like, yeah, they can tell you to ask, and the records can tell you to ask too. I love when there's like they like kind of tell you the same thing from all sides. That's amazing when they're very clear like that. It's like we've been telling you
Yeah,
to ask. We'll tell you again though.
right.
But that's a great insight that you had. It's not just about asking, it's about asking and like letting it go. And that was the sense where it's like offloading it, where it's like I'm gonna give this to you and you can take care of it and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's really lovely. I'm so glad that like it's delightful to know that you're so supported.
Thank you. Well, I'm grateful for you confirming that, because I think that's, yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm excited to see how this unfolds for you because I'm like, this is like a powerful like support and like practice that you can have now that you've like tried it and it worked and it's like okay now you know how to do it. It's like having the clear ask or request in your head and then letting it go. Like oh my gosh.
You should maybe we should come back here in like 6 months and
I know.
just and just kind of check in and see what's happened
I
since then. I would
know.
love that if if
That
you
would be
would be.
great. Yeah, I would be super curious. I'm like, I imagine you just having like a list of things that were like asked and answered by that time. That'd be amazing.
Not only that, but just being full blown into my coaching business and just
Yeah.
just going straight forward for everything.
That'd be great. You're like, I took all the plates off. They are
Right.
stacked. They're not spinning anymore. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we should definitely check in again in a few months. That would be really
I would
great.
love it. Yeah, I
Okay,
would
yeah,
definitely
let's
love it.
do it. Oh my gosh. Was there anything else that you wanted to share? Yeah, before we kind of close for today?
Not that I can think of. If there is anything, Mina, I would definitely reach out to you.
Okay. Okay.
Because over the next couple of weeks or just in general, I'm excited to see what happens.
Me too. Me too. I'm excited too. And yeah, I'm excited to get the update next time we chat. That'll be great. You'll have to keep a list though, because I feel like
Right.
it'll be long. I'm like, just in a couple weeks, you had some synchronicities. So in a few months, I don't know how you
I'm
guys
telling
keep
you,
track of
right.
it. Oh, oh.
Everybody just needs to get a Akashic Records reading by Mina, and it's who knows what's in store for you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. Was there anything that you wanted to share? How can people connect with you and work with you?
So, excuse me. So, if you would like to connect with me or work with me, my email address is r Pringle, like the potato chip, Pringle, the number 86 at gmail.com. So that's rpringle86 at gmail.com. And I'm always open to hear everyone's stories and just, if you just want to say hello or if anything inspired you or if you even want to just have a conversation. And I'm here for it.
Beautiful. That's a generous offer. That's so sweet. And we'll put your, yeah, contact in the description so people can find you and, yeah, can work with you if they want to.
Thank you, Mina.
Oh, thanks so much, Robin. It was so great to chat with you. It was like a real treat to get to hear how this landed for you.
Welcome back. How was that for you? I would love to know how that landed for you. I feel like Robin is, yeah, again, she's so down to earth and so relatable. I really find that she is just super easy to talk to. And yeah, she's just a good human. And I'm so curious because I find her to be so relatable and easy to talk to. I'm curious how her reading landed with you. And I know that I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I'll continue to repeat this ongoing on the pod. But, this reading is for Robin, right? I'm opening her unique Akashic records, and this reading is for her. She's asking her personal questions and receiving specific, direct guidance from her unique Akashic records. However, I feel like the records, some of the things they share, there are pieces that we can take and massage and kind of like work into our own lives in our own way, in our own style, if they feel relevant. And of course, not everything is going to feel relevant to everyone because, like I said, this is a personal reading in her own records. But I'm curious if any part of this landed for you. I feel like there were a couple of really lovely practices or almost like options, like ways to think about things, perspectives that the records gave Robin. And I'm curious how those land for you. And especially the piece about, how we can ask for help. Asking for support can feel so hard, and especially when, we're not receiving super direct intuitive insights. Our intuition can speak in a lot of different ways and it moves in seasons. We can have seasons where we feel a lot of clarity from our intuition, and then there are seasons where it feels like we're floating in total uncertainty. And I feel like that practice that the keepers so generously offered Robin, to just write down, to try that practice out. Like if you could imagine your ancestors or your Akashic keepers or your guides or your angels, whoever you, feel connected to in the other realms, in the etheric realms, if they were asking you, what would you like us to do for you? How can we support you? How can we show up for you today or in this season? What would you say to them? And I think it's such a lovely, simple, accessible practice to try to respond to that in a sentence. And of course, you can, say more, you can write more, you can think more, you could speak more, but I kind of love that as a creative constraint, and it's nice because it kind of functions in a couple ways, right? Where it's like it's a nice creative constraint because it keeps the practice short and sweet. So it's like that's something you can do every day, right? You can write down one sentence every day in your notes app. You can say it out loud and on a scrap piece of paper. You can write one sentence asking for help every day. So I love that as a creative constraint because it keeps it, again, short, sweet, accessible. But it's also like a nice creative constraint as a way of like centering into clarity, where it's like, can you distill what it is that you want help with into just one sentence? Because that can be hard, right? And it might feel easy to just kind of like go on and like give a lot of context or almost like be mired in our own stories. Not that, it's bad to have a story or whatever, and sometimes context, a lot of times context is really helpful. But when you're dialoguing with the universe or, magical support, as I sometimes call it, what would it be like to intentionally use the creative constraint of like, can I really capture the essence of what I'm asking for into one sentence? That's a great exercise to cultivate clarity in your own awareness, in your own inner world, in your own mental awareness, to just kind of like clarify, like, what is it that I'm seeking, wanting, desiring help around right now? So, if that's something that you try, I would love to know how that goes for you. Did you find it to be helpful? Was it too hard? Was it not for you? I would be so curious if you give that a shot. Please let me know. Feel free to send me a message on Substack or an email. You can find me, if you're whatever on my email list, this and that. You can find me. So, yeah, send me an email. You can leave a comment on this if you want to, wherever you're watching or listening. But yeah, I would love to know if you end up trying that and or if there was something else in this reading that, really landed for you or made you think about something differently. I would really love to know how this landed for you. And there was one more thing I wanted to say, which was again this whole thing around purpose. So I I think Robin and I talked about this a little bit in the post-reading chat, but in the first reading I did for Robin a couple years ago, she asked a similar question, right? She was asking about her purpose, she was asking about her gifts, and then those topics came up again in this reading, which was 2 years later. And I want to just kind of, bring our attention to this. You can ask the same questions at different times in your life, and you will get different responses from the records. And I think that's why it's so beautiful to kind of check in, to have like, it's lovely. It's such a gift to be able to check in around the same questions at different stages or seasons of your life because you don't know what the records are going to say and we are evolving all the time and so too do our records, right? Our records are alive with us. They are living and growing and evolving with us. They're responding to us. And so it was really cool. Like for me, I thought it was really fun and it was a real treat to see like what stayed consistent and what changed when she asked those questions. And I think that just really speaks to just purpose and free will, right? So it's like in both of her readings, Robin had this gift, right? She has this gift of communication and deep connection, and that came through both times. And what is neat right? It's like maybe there are aspects of our purpose that do stay consistent over long periods of time in our life, right? So her gift of communication and deep connection, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there with her. But the way she chooses to express that gift can change and evolve depending on how she chooses to use it. And that is something that's super beautiful. And that's something that I want to remind us all. And I think it was a lovely reminder from the records for me too, of like, you might be, blessed with certain gifts. You might have a sense of what your purpose is. And at the end of the day, not even the records can dictate or tell you how to use those gifts or embody that sense of purpose. You can choose how you express your gifts. You can choose how or if you embody or express or walk with purpose. And it's it's really rich to connect with purpose in this way where we're diving down deeper below the level of vocation, below the level of a to-do list, before like below the level of like what's the task that I'm here to do, and rather what's the experience I'm here to embody. When we think of purpose that way, all the doors open up. There are endless expressions of our purpose when we tune into the essence, the quality of our purpose rather than treating our purpose like a task on a to-do list that we just check the box and then we're done. Instead, Robbin is a perfect example of how we can grow and let our purpose grow and evolve with us. And we can use our free will, we can use our creative power to choose how we want to express our purpose and our gifts in this season of life with the resources that we have. So it's a really lovely reminder that sometimes it can feel like purpose is not accessible, but it is. This is a reminder that purpose is accessible because you don't have to do anything fancy or have anything like specific in order to fulfill your purpose. You can find ways to live into, breathe into, be your purpose no matter what season of life you're in. And whether, Robin is in a super busy season, there are ways that she can commune with and connect to her purpose and her gifts. And if she, later on is in a different season, a more spacious season, I'm sure her gifts and her purpose would express in a different way to meet her in that season. So I hope that empowers you and reminds you of the creative power and the free will that you have and how you are in constant collaboration with your purpose and your gifts. It's not something that you're being told to do in a certain way. It's something that you have been gifted truly, and that you have the power to choose if and how you want to use them according to your own preferences, your own desire, and in honor of and in with respect to the circumstances and the context that you're in this season, whether it's a challenging season or a very abundant season. So those are things to think about. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. And please do, if this sparked something in you, I'd love to hear from you. So feel free to leave a comment wherever you're listening to or watching this. And please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're watching or listening. If you want to dive even deeper into yeah, the Akashic goodness that I share, you can check out my free 7-day course, Pathways to the Deep Self, and that is a beautiful, like very rich place to start. That's full of all the practices that I use on a daily basis to connect with myself more deeply. So that's there for you. All of that's in the show notes. And my last loving request for you is if this landed with you in any way, if this gave you anything, if you got anything out of this episode, the best thing you can do is share it with a friend. So if you know someone that might benefit from hearing this message, please, please, please share this with a friend. I would be so grateful if you did. I would love to have your support and your help in sharing the magic of the records with even more people. So that would mean a lot if you could share this with someone. And until next time, thank you so much for being here. I'm wishing you well. Namaste.